Three of them were marker tackles. It's unbelievable. No wonder he was rested for the last 5 minutes of the match. Lee Mossam had 42 tackles, 12 of which were marker tackles, 103 metres as well for the Salford skipper. And Ed Chamberlain came into the centres, 153 metres for him. For Saints, Alex Walmsley made the most of not being able to play next week by playing lots of minutes this week and got 6 tackles, 175 metres. Young Nico Roselli on the wing out of Rochdale got 163 metres. Joseph Paulo with 154 metres and 3 successful offloads, making up for lost time there. And Dom Peyru, 1 try assist and 41 tackles.
So, a couple of views on this one. St David said, Saints turn to play the kids. Very brave effort and lucky not to win, but equally not surprised the Reds just scraped home at the death. Onwards.
And Mike Webb 58 said, seems churlish to wonder why Sky seemed to think Salford were the underdogs. However, great effort from the young, and in brackets not so young, Saints. Just a touch more composure and would have won it. Great for the club to put out a competitive side with 12 academy products in it. Yeah, I mean, those 12 academy products do include James Graham. Let's not forget. Let's
not so young.
No, let's not go over. But no, it is right. Mike's right. They put out, was it 5 debutants in this game? So it was a good, it was a good showing from those young players. I think the case for why Saints were not seen as underdogs in this game was put forward before the game by John Wilkin, who talked about how Saints are putting, these Saints players are coming into a side that's a winning side. And also, you got to remember, Salford have played 1 million games. And I'm not saying that to be churlish, it's just true. They've played every 4 days or every 3.5 days in October. So,
Yeah, they've had a very heavy workload for a small squad, haven't they? Let's be honest.
That's right, yeah. But Nico Roselli, Ben Davies, Tom Nisbet, Jake Wingfield and Matty Foster all made their debuts, and Lewis Dodd made his long-awaited first start as well for Saints. And I think Lewis Dodd was pretty decent. He got himself well involved defensively, didn't he? 14 marker tackles he had in the game. So, he did work quite hard, didn't he? And he always made sure he was the guy doing the kicking as well, pretty much. Jack Wellesby had a couple of poor kicks playing alongside him. But Saints were decent in the first half. You just felt that the young side were probably going to run out of steam in one way or another, even though you also worried if the Salford side might run out of steam too.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Saints were kind of 10-0 up, weren't they? 20 minutes gone, and they didn't score again. And
it was taking the 2 twice, weren't it? They obviously expected a low-scoring game. It was tipping it down on and off during the game.
I kind of understand. I mean, obviously we need to talk about Nisbet's missed try. I don't want to pick on a guy on his debut, but
he's a poor lad.
It was crucial. Yeah, poor lad.
Oh. And we've seen him given Tony Club against Leeds a couple of years ago. That's very, very unfortunate. But yeah, as you said, Salford just hung in it, didn't they? And we've seen Inu kicking crucial goals and scoring crucial tries, haven't we, in recent weeks? And he did it again. Yeah, and his try was really good, actually, weren't it? How he found that space.
Yes.
To dive over to score. You've got to give him credit there. I just think the Saints youngsters started making a few errors as the game went on. In fact, the Saints side started making a few errors as the game went on, and you sort of thought Salford, a little bit of rain around, close, low-scoring game. They'd not led at any point. Felt like the kind of game that Ian Watson's side loved to play. The Dan Sargentson, it felt like the game that he loves to play, and he was everywhere for Salford, attack and defence. I mean, I think he gave the last pass for Inu's try, but he also made the crucial tackle right at the end on Josh Sim. Now, Josh Sim looked brilliant in the full Saints side on Friday night. He looked decent, but that's, in this young Saints side, didn't he? He didn't look the same standout. He didn't have the same standout performance surrounded by his peers, I don't think, but he was close to winning the game for Saints, and Salford fullback managed to come and quash it.
Yeah, but no, it was it's one of these games, wasn't it? You could have easily seen both teams had reasons not to win it, but yeah, Salford just about did enough.
Yeah, and the big news after the game was around the Salford coach, wasn't it? And the interview he gave, where he basically made Andy Lass know that he's definitely not the first choice for the Hull FC job, but but also, really mugged off Hull FC. I wonder how it feels for Pearson to be hearing that he's been rejected live on TV rather than doing it to his coach.
I mean, there's a wonderful irony in that, and I quite. There's no way that Watson didn't know that. He's a smart guy. I'm sure to himself he had a bit of a smile about that.
Well, so. I think Pearson probably had already been told it wasn't.
Oh no, I'm sure, but Radford had already been told, but it was still a thing though, wasn't it? So
yeah. But what do you make of that? Watson gave his reasons pretty clearly and complimented Hull on the way they pursued it, but didn't feel like the right time for him. Or for where he's at, he feels with his Salford side as well as for his family and stuff. So it seems pretty nailed on that he won't be at a different club in 2021.
I can totally understand. I do think that the kind of Salford approach suits Watson's style. And maybe it'd have been different if it was like the Saints job or the Wigan job, or those kind of
a job where it wasn't a rebuild.
And I'm not going to get into our Hull FC a big club kind of blah blah blah.
They are a big club. They average over
They're a
10,000.
big club. They're a big club, but they
produce a lot of players. They're a big club.
I can understand why he would have had second thoughts about that role as opposed to a Saints or a Wigan or maybe a Leeds.
Well, it's a big move as well, isn't it? It's you can't travel the 3 hours every day, so you're gonna be moving. Whereas you can travel to other Lancashire-based clubs, North-West-based clubs if those jobs came up.
For me, I just think that Salford suits Watson and Watson suits Salford. So
yeah,
they've been to 2 cup finals in the last 2 years,
and he's had a part in building the side for next year.
Yeah.
Whereas he won't have had that at Hull FC.
No, and the pressure is so much different at Hull FC. He's not. Even with getting to the Grand Final last year, nobody was talking about Salford doing anything this year. It's like he's kind of under the radar is part of their DNA, isn't it? And I think that suits him very well. So, and I think to be honest, I think the FC problem, FC coaching job is exactly the opposite. There's massive pressure from the fans and expectation because of this, the size, the quality of the squad, etc., etc. So I do think that it probably didn't. When he thought about it probably just didn't sit right. So yeah. I think it's the right decision personally.
Yeah. My last word on that on the match is the highlight moment of the game for me was Peyrou's inside ball for Eves' try to start the game off. That was a class pass, running the opposite direction to pass it with that much conviction back the opposite way was fantastic.
Yeah, that's skill set stuff that is hard to do. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, into the final game then, and probably the game that's got the most talking points.
Yes.
we've talked about two games with lots of highlight plays to talk about before. We're going to talk about a game that's totally different now. Leeds versus Castleford. So it was 12-all at half time. Finished 28 points to 24 for the Leeds Rhinos. They won it in the end. Tom Grant was the referee. We will be having to talk about Tom Grant when we talk about this game. In terms of the stats, Leeds made over 300 more metres at 2 metres per carry average game with twice as many breaks, 10-5. The error count was high, 2018, with Leeds on the worst end, and both teams had below 90% tackle success rate. Individually, Ash Hanley 173 metres, Conrad Hurrell 1 try assist, 8 tackle bus 165 metres, Richie Myler 1 try assist, 7 tackle bus 127 metres, 2 clean breaks, Liam Sutcliffe 1 try 122 metres and 2 clean breaks. For the plucky but ultimately defeated Cass side, Greg Eden 2 tries, 6 tackle bus 179 metres, 2 clean breaks. Mike McMeekan 5 tackle bus 122 metres, Daryl Alford 6 tackle bus 106 metres, and Paul McShane 40 tackles.
So fan views on this one. Dr. Bob Phillips says proper derby with action, reaction, skill and luck, and the right team winning in the end. Well, he would say that.
Always in our shadow said, what a shit showing by Tom Grant. Missed the elbow before the sending off. Martin running in like a twat. Ball steals not given. Cass royally shafted. He didn't even want to give the blatant penalty try at the end.
And Simon Lees says, hard, not to sound bitter, but shocking by the ref. Positive for Cass with a strong lineup. We showed Super League. We are competitive.
I would say all three sides were pretty poor in the first half of this game. And by three sides, I mean Leeds, Castleford and the officiating team. They were all pretty fucking poor in the first half, I would say.
Yeah, so I watched this. I didn't watch this live. I watched it on catch up, and I watched it after seeing the Twitter storm about it. So I'm watching it with the full view that everyone thinks that Grant's had a shitter, and so I'm looking at each individual decision point, and I'm trying to justify the decision making. For me, the two kind of ball steals that he missed.
Well, we'll start by balancing it up, Al, if that's okay.
Go on,
and
then.
Say Cass's first try came off a knock-on from Richie Myler where, from all angles, the ball appeared to go backwards.
It wasn't a knock-on. Yes,
so
I agree. No, I agree with that.
A knock-on. He dropped the ball, so, he still made a mistake, because he didn't mean to drop the ball, but the refs made a mistake too by thinking it went forwards when it went backwards, and the rules say it has to go forwards for it to be.
I would agree.
Sorry, but go on. This ball steal.
No. That's fine. No, that's a good point because I spotted that straight away. Obviously, and that right. Okay, that's one in the.
And actually, Simon during the game, Simon sent us a tweet that did cover off that it was not just one-sided. The mistakes in the first half.
No, and mistakes happen. I think particularly the second ball steal from Pryor, he's deliberately trying to do that in a way to get away with it. He's doing it in a very smart way, and you can't blame the officials for not necessarily seeing that. You want them to get it right, but they're not going to always get it right.
See, I thought the first one was maybe a bit more excusable in that it was a bit more like it happened quite quickly and it was arms everywhere sort of thing. So I could understand why loose carry was deemed maybe more in that first one. That second one, I sort of thought it didn't look right the way it came out. But I take what you're saying. The difficulty here isn't that, it's that we're expecting the referees to be perfect, apparently, when the players are fucking cheating. So whose fault is it? It's not the referee's fault that the players are cheating. He has to try and pick up on it. But you can't spot every time that 26 blokes cheat throughout a match. So stop fucking cheating your opponents if you want to then not slag off referees.
Yeah, because if you're the referee in that situation, for me, particularly the prior one, he obviously didn't get a call from his touch judge, and the touch judge had a much better view than the referee did. So it's an officiating team job, isn't it?
Yeah.
But